Bible Archaeology Timeline. The New Testament. 1st century.
The Gospel of Matthew, the first book of the New Testament, begins with the birth of Jesus Christ, shortly before the death of Herod around 4 BC, describes his life on earth, and ends with his death and resurrection in 33 AD. From 125 BC to 66 AD, the Tyrian shekel was the currency of the money changers in John 2:15, the coin in the fish's mouth in Matthew 17:27, and the 30 coins Judas receives for betraying Jesus in Matthew 26:15. 9 BC to 40 AD, King Aretas coin. In 2 Corinthians 11, the governor under King Aretas was guarding the city, forcing Paul to escape in a basket lowered down from a window in the city walls. 4 BC to 3 AD, Herod Antipas coin. According to Matthew 14, Herod was the tetrarch who beheaded John the Baptist at the request of his new wife's dancing daughter.
Yeah, I know.
19 AD, Herod's ring. This was the king who attempted to kill Jesus by murdering the infant boys in Bethlehem. Originally discovered in the Herodium in 1969, Herod's ring was lost in storage until 2018, when it was re-examined, revealing the inscription Pilato. It may have been used by Pontius Pilate's clerks to stamp wine containers. 14 to 37 AD, Emperor Tiberius Caesar coin. Tiberius is specifically mentioned in Luke 3:1a, now in the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, and alluded to in Luke 20:22 to 25. Is it lawful for us to give tribute to Caesar or not? But he perceived their craftiness, and said to them, Show me a denarius. Whose likeness and inscription does it have? They said, Caesar's. He said to them, Then render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. 26 to 37 AD, Pilate stone. Discovered in Caesarea Maritima in 1961, it is the earliest known inscription confirming the existence and position of Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who washed his hands at Jesus' trial before sending him off to be executed. 26 to 36 AD, bronze coin of Pontius Pilate, which also names Tiberius Caesar, confirms that Pilate ruled at the death of Jesus. John 18:38, Pilate said to him, What is truth? After he had said this, he went back outside to the Jews and told them, I find no guilt in him. 33 to 60 AD, the Acts of the Apostles take place. 33 to 95 AD, the epistles were written to the early church. 41 to 44 AD, Emperor Claudius coin. We are told in Acts 18:1-2 that Aquila and Priscilla came to Corinth because Claudius had commanded all the Jews to leave Rome. 41 to 44 AD, King Herod Agrippa coin. Acts 26:27-28, King Agrippa, do you believe the prophets? I know that you believe. And Agrippa said to Paul, In a short time would you persuade me to be a Christian? 44 AD, James the son of Zebedee and brother of John was beheaded by order of King Herod Agrippa in Jerusalem, as is recorded in Acts 12:1-2. His body was taken to Spain and currently resides in Santiago de Compostela. 45 AD, Elephantine Ostracon records a census much like the one in Luke 2:1-3. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. 50 AD, crucified heel bone confirms that Romans pierced hands and feet when they crucified people, as is described in the New Testament. 52 AD, Gallio inscription, or Delphi inscription, identifies the proconsul of Achaia who tried Paul in Acts 18, as well as the Roman Emperor Claudius, who is also mentioned in Acts 18. It was discovered in 1908 at the Temple of Apollo in Delphi, Greece. 52 to 60 AD, Antonius Felix coin. Felix, the procurator of Judea, is confronted by Paul in Acts 24:25. Now, as he reasoned about righteousness, self-control, and the judgment to come, Felix was afraid and answered, "Go away for now. When I have a convenient time, I will call for you." 54 to 68 AD, Emperor Nero coin. Because Paul was a Roman citizen, Festus sent him to be tried by Caesar or Nero in Acts 25. 60 AD, Caiaphas ossuary, inscribed with his name, was discovered in 1990 and contained the bones of a 60-year-old male. Caiaphas was the high priest who interrogated Jesus in Matthew 26, 56 to 67. 60 AD, Andrew was crucified on an X-shaped cross in Patras, Greece. His bones are kept at the Cathedral of St. Andrew, Patras, Greece, as well as in a number of other churches around Europe. 60 AD, Matthew was martyred in Ethiopia, either stabbed or killed with a halberd. His remains are in the crypt beneath the Cathedral of Salerno, Italy. 62 AD, James the son of Alphaeus was thrown from the temple in Jerusalem, stoned and eventually beaten to death with a fuller's club. He was buried near the temple, but his bones were transferred to Constantinople and eventually Rome, where they rest today next to St. Philip in the Basilica dei Santi Apostoli. 63 AD, James' ossuary, or bone box, may have contained the bones of James the Apostle and brother of Christ. The inscription on the side reads, Jacob, James, son of Joseph, brother of Jesus. 64 AD, Peter was crucified upside down in Rome under Nero. He is buried in St. Peter's Basilica, Vatican City. 65 AD, Thaddeus, also called Jude, son of James, was beaten to death with clubs or possibly killed by arrows in Persia. He is buried in St. Peter's Basilica, Vatican City. 65 AD, Simon the Canaanite was martyred alongside his brother Jude in Persia. He is buried alongside him as well in St. Peter's Basilica. 67 AD, Paul was beheaded by Nero. He is buried in the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls, Rome. 70 AD, most of the New Testament was completed before the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. 71 AD, Bartholomew, otherwise called Nathaniel, was flayed alive and beheaded in Armenia. He is buried in the Basilica of St. Bartholomew, Rome, while some relics are also in Armenia. 72 AD, Thomas was speared to death in India. He is buried in St. Thomas Cathedral, Basilica, Chennai, Mylapore, India. 80 AD, Matthias was crucified in Ethiopia, a region in modern-day Georgia. His remains are interred in the Abbey of Santa Giustina, Padua, and the Abbey of St. Matthias, Trier, Germany. 80 AD, Philip was crucified upside down or possibly stoned to death in Hierapolis. In 2011, the tomb of Philip was identified at the site of ancient Hierapolis in modern-day Turkey. 50 to 150 AD, Didache describes liturgy and practices for the early church. The oldest copy dates to 1056 AD. 94 AD, Josephus writes the Antiquities of the Jews, which is a 20-volume history from Genesis to Rome. It describes some New Testament people, including Jesus, John the Baptist, and James the Just. The oldest copy dates to 1100 AD. 95 to 96 AD, John wrote Revelation, the last book of the New Testament. 99 AD, John was the only apostle to escape martyrdom. After being boiled in oil and exiled to the Isle of Patmos, he eventually traveled to Ephesus, where he died peacefully of old age. His tomb is there to this day. And that brings us to the end of the New Testament and the beginning of the early church.